Okay, right before we have our class one come in, I'd like to say good evening to everyone and welcome to the Laramie County Bred and Fed Lamb Show. Tonight we celebrate something truly special, the dedication, hard work, and pride of our local sheep producers. Laramie County has a long tradition of raising outstanding livestock, and this show is a testament to the quality of breeding programs right here at home. This year, we're excited to welcome 15 local breeders who have brought more than 100 market lambs into the ring this evening. Every one of these lambs represents countless hours of planning, feeding, care, and commitment to producing quality livestock. To our breeders, thank you for investing in the future of agriculture and for sharing your genetics and knowledge with the next generation. To our exhibitors, thank you for the time and effort you've put into preparing your lambs. And to our families, sponsors, and spectators, thank you for supporting local agriculture and the hardworking people who make it possible. As we begin tonight's show, let's remember that while champions will be selected, every breeder and exhibitor here has already contributed to the strength of our local sheep industry. Thank you all for being here, and best of luck to everyone in the ring. Let's have a great show. Final call, Olivia Johnson. Final call, Olivia Johnson. Entering the ring now is Heat 1. I should have Heat 2 headed to the holding area. Addison Aldersea, Blair Sanchez with 2 entries, Holden Killian, Skyla Hockenberger, Dawson Sedman, Kara Fogg, Brinley Cardona, Emily Burdick, and Grace Baumgartner. As I mentioned in the bio, we have 15 breeders that are displaying over 100 lambs this evening. The breeders are as follows: Aldersea Show Lambs, Winslow Club Lambs, Watkins Club Lambs, Jeffrey Club Lambs, Kylie Watkins, Cox Club Lambs, Lambert Baumberger, Spy Club Lambs, Freeman Livestock, 4R Livestock Enterprises, Durner Club Lambs, Little Bow Sheep, Wilson, Bauman,
Well, good evening. Okay, you can hear me? Well, good evening, everyone. I didn't think I was going to be here sorting a sheep show. I appreciate you guys thinking of me to kind of step in and save the night. The sheep show is going to be really high quality. Every time I come out here, I always say whoever gets to judge the sheep show here at the Laramie County Fair is one lucky person because the quality is high caliber all the way from top to bottom. I didn't think that these top 3 or 4 sheep were going to push me as hard as they did, and I realized you could probably sort them a few different ways. So it's going to be a really fun night. It's not what I thought I was going to come out and do, but again, I appreciate you guys thinking of me. All I worry about is us selecting the right sheep. That's really my main priority here. First and second out here I thought was an awfully tough call. Probably for me, the weather that wins the class here does it because of his athletic build. Absolutely like the length of body, lateness of maturity, kind of a long outline and big pattern sheep right here. That handle's absolutely fresh in terms of top. Big stout pin in him. He drops down with more lower leg. Young lady, when we can actually get him propped up on the side right here and really driving, that weather really fits together extremely well. Very good class winner. There's a lot to appreciate right here in the ewe that's in second, and I thought initially she was going to win the class because the way she wedges back into her underline is exceptional. Her top line, her hip and hind leg look the part. She sets down with some big fuzzy legs right there. There's a lot of turn and dimension. When I really get my hands on her, I thought she was second here in terms of handle quality, maybe starting to get kind of ewe-like in terms of her loin, starting to get just a shot plainer there, and that's part of just a gender difference right there. I just wasn't sure that this sheep was just as big outline and growthy and late maturing as our class winner there, but there's a lot of pieces I can really like in that ewe. Very nice job. The sheep that sits here in third, very, very good in terms of muscle and power. Reminds me a lot of our class winner. Unfortunately, probably doesn't in just a shot more conventional package. Wants to just get a shot shorter in terms of her outline. Maybe not the coolest neck I've ever seen, and her shoulder maybe starting to get just a little bit longer in her, but a very neat, good type of sheep that I can appreciate in terms of look. Very good job to the showman getting her stuck out here. Really like a lot of aspects of the front 1/3 of this ewe that's in fourth. That one's very good in terms of the elevation of her top and of her neck and the way that she ties into her shoulder blade. Young man, you're doing a good job trying to get her top line down. That's one area we really got to go ahead and tweak on her. She gets kind of tight and wound up in terms of her spine. Wasn't overly convinced that she was the stoutest sheep we had in here. If you want to argue maybe she's the narrowest one out of our top 5 or 6, I'll buy that. But in terms of just build, athleticism, trimness, I can like that ewe quite a bit. Very nice job. There's a stout, powerful meat and potatoes type of ewe here that comes out in fifth. There's a lot of muscle and a lot of dimension, and if that's your kind and you want to work her way up just a freckle more because of that, I wouldn't argue with you. For me, though, bit more conventional in terms of her grow. Probably gets a bit too squashed up for me in her neck, and just her shoulder don't completely blend in her. Starting to get just kind of mature on the top side of her rib. Very nice sheep, though. I commend the breeders for putting a lot of power into that one. And then our 6th place sheep right here. That one's athletic. That one's trim. There's a ton of upper shape in that ewe, in that wether. The major downside is of our top 6, that one is just the most general in terms of makeup. More general about his shoulder and his loin. His hind leg maybe isn't the stoutest, and his rear hoof maybe isn't the biggest one we've seen, but a very good complete sheep. 3 other right here sheep to round us out. Very nice job to those exhibitors.
Results of Heat 1. First place, Rowdy Baker. Second place, Blair Sanchez. Third place, Blair Sanchez. Fourth place, Cooper Sanchez. Fifth place, Rowdy Baker. Sixth place, Mackenzie Merrill. The top 3 from every heat will return at the end for an overall grand drive. Coming in the ring now, we have Heat 2. And Heat 3 should be thinking about it. Please head to the holding area if you were Heat 3. Adeline Crowder, Landon Shea, Kaysen Bowman, Maylee Lovato, Selena Millhouse, Sophia Stengel, Whitley Smalley, Adeline Crowder, Lila Conklin, Ruby Wolfley, Kaysen Bowman, and Quinsley Cardona. Quinsley Epler to the holding area. Quinsley Epler to the holding area.
There's an awesome class winner right here. When this sheep first came in, I said, there's my kind of ewe in terms of just outline. That's a big proportional ewe in terms of look, balance. I really like her on the front third of her body. Works in a really good direction to her underline. And then on top of that, still is equipped with a big, powerful back. I really like her in terms of pin width. We do a really good job of getting that ewe stuck right there. Yeah, maybe she's a little awkward in her loin at times. I think more than anything, it's just maybe a distraction because she pops up in her top line, but that's to be expected when you put that much muscle and power. Very nice job out here. The sheep in second's another great example of just being built really good in terms of elevation of chest floor, really good back into her flank line. Really like that ewe in terms of roundness of body, being bold and opened up on the front side of her rib cage, handling with just a big square top. Maybe a ewe that I'm just not as confident is as unique as our class winner because she's a little pushed out in terms of her shoulder blade, just didn't quite handle with as much freshness and upstanding shape as our class winner. Very nice sheep right there. There's a lot of future in that ewe. I like a lot of aspects of our third place sheep right here because that one's very feminine, sets up with just a really good look on the profile. Very good in terms of being bold and opened up. A sheep, though, that of the top three, just a shot more conventional in terms of her shoulder and her chest. Maybe gets a bit more plain in terms of just some out there pieces in terms of lateness of maturity and some extension. I'd maybe just like to freshen that ewe up just a freckle because she's starting to almost look like she's going to pucker out in terms of her 1/3. There's a lot of good ewe right there. The sheep that comes out next, I initially wanted to tie into that Dorset just a freckle higher because I said there's just a really neat white face that I can appreciate in terms of elevation up front. I'll commend the breeders. You guys did an awesome job with that sheep. Even though maybe her chest isn't the most exciting one compared to some of our other black-face crosses, that's one that I can say there's a really neat one in terms of being the package build and skeleton. The blueprint is there. There's plenty of muscle volume. Unfortunately, I got my hands on her, and maybe of the top 5 right here, she is the most general in terms of the front side of her rib. Wanted to get just a bit plainer and softer and kind of Dorset-like in terms of her hide and just her condition right now. But to me, a very good one that I can say, you know what, we'll go ahead and work her right there because of her unique pieces. Very nice job right there. I'll admit the blue weather that comes out next, that one is firmer, that one is more hydrated, and if you want to say that's the cutability advantage, absolutely. My biggest problem with him is he's probably just a shot too freckled tight in terms of his top line. I just could never get a read of that sheep fully balancing out. Maybe I'd like to drop him just a freckle in terms of his flank line, but a very nice sheep right there. Thought he got outpowered and outshaped by some of the sheep ahead of him. The sheep that comes out next, really like that one in terms of boldness, in terms of stoutness, of weather there that handles with plenty of upstanding shape. He's got a big stout pin set, drops down with a big lower leg. Of the top sheep, though, maybe the most general in terms of his shoulder, wanted to get just a freckle pushed out right there. Just could never get that sheep set and saying, hey, there's the quality of our top 5 right there. But that's a good muscular weather that you can certainly commend right there from just a standpoint of power and the market fundamentals. Very nice job to those top 6, not to take away from these 4 here. Really good set of sheep right there. That was a fun class to go through.
Results of Heat 2. First place, Grace Baumgartner. Second place, Dawson Sedman. Third place, Blair Sanchez. Fourth place, Skyla Hockenberger. Fifth place, Blair Sanchez. Sixth place, Addison Aldersea. Seventh place, Emma Burdick. Eighth place, Kara Fogg. Ninth place, Brindley Epler. 10th place, Holden Killian. Headed into the ring is Heat 3, Adeline Crowder, Landon Shea, Melee Lovato, Selena Millhouse, Sophia Stengel, Whitley Smalley, Adeline Crowder, Lila Conklin, Ruby Wolfley, Kaysen Bowman, and Quinsley Epler. Heat 4, please start making your way to the holding area. Farrah Schmidl, Denny Wolfley, McKinley Sunderland, Ryan Fairherm, Guthrie Watkins, with 2 entries, Ryan Fairherm, Addison Aldersea, Andrea Rose, Bethany Gassner, Kaysen Bowman, Cooper Baumgartner, Michaela Pinder. Don't forget, if you're top 3 in your heat, make sure that you're back for the overall grand drive at the end of the show.
Thought this class was actually probably the hardest one I had because all the way through first through sixth, there was a lot of variation in the sheep in terms of muscle, starting to really push them, I guess, in terms of freshness. There's probably a few sheep, even in our top 6 here, that handled maybe just a shot more general and not as upstanding as what I would like. First and second, I thought initially was going to be where I was going to be the most confident in, because these to me are the most complete sheep. Gentleman up front here has just an absolute monster in terms of muscle. That ewe is about as big top, dimensional, and stout and burly as you can make right there. Big fuzzy legs. We get her set up and propped up really nice there on the profile. Really where I thought she could have landed in second for me was maybe her shoulders just a shot more general. I just don't see as a youthful and extended type of ewe right here. I'd maybe like to lengthen her out just a freckle in terms of lateness of maturity and some extension. But there's so much muscle, dimension, and still a sound structure in that ewe there, even though that's more my kind in terms of growthier outline. Just thought that that one was too hard to get past from a muscle and dimension standpoint. That's probably my favorite sheep there in terms of just pattern and look. That ewe is really extended up front, tall at the point of her shoulder, long-bodied and very, very youthful. Got plenty of shape and turn down there to her rib. Where that sheep honestly lands in second is she just really pushed a ewe in here that has almost enough muscle to swallow everybody alive in here. Just maybe read that one a shot greener, which is all right, but I just wasn't fully convinced that that one had as much out there power, raw shape, and boldness on the front side of her rib cage to push that champion ewe in here. Very, very good one, though. Probably my favorite one in terms of just athleticism and look. This sheep right here that's in third is probably a good combination of our first and second, because she's good in terms of her shoulder and her growthiness and extension. She's got just a shot more look in compared to the sheep that wins the class, but not as unique as the sheep that's in second. Her shoulder's just not quite as cool as our second place. Just didn't read that ewe to be as bold and upstanding in terms of the turn of her shape. Very nice project. I commend the breeders on a very good complete ewe. This fourth place weather, I'll be honest, if you want to knock this one down farther because of the top 5, this might be the lightest muscled and the narrowest one. I'll buy that. But the longer I got a look on him, and when he first came in class, I said, there's my kind. Tall at the point of his shoulder, shoved up in terms of chest plate. Really, really youthful and extended. Really like sheep that can just look and wedge that way. The reason he's fourth instead of being up higher, a little too one-dimensional, probably handles just the plainest there of the top sheep. The sheep that comes out next, really like that weather from just a standpoint of muscle. There's a plenty of volume, dimension, and top. Gets a bit plainer compared to our fourth place sheep. If you want to say he's an upgrade in terms of muscle, I'll buy that because he is. The sheep that comes out in sixth, just very good, solid, complete type of weather that's muscular. He's bold and big up top. Gets out qualityed and out just shape compared to the sheep ahead of him. Think there's a lot of good, though, there in that one. Think you guys should be excited about how he's going to really look when we get him in his prime. Good sheep right here on the bottom end. Let's congratulate him. That was a fun class. A lot more challenge in that one because the sheep had a lot of variation in them.
Results of Heat 3. First place, Kason Bowman. Second place, Ruby Wolfley. Third place, Selena Millhouse. Fourth place, Adeline Crowder. Fifth place, Whitley Smalley. Sixth place, Landon Shea. Seventh place, Adeline Crowder. Eighth place, Sophia Stengel. Ninth place, Quinsley Epler. And 10th place, Lila Conklin. Headed into the ring is Heat 4. Heat 5, head to the waiting area. Michael Etcheper, Rowdy Baker, Whitley Smalley, Addison Aldersea, Allie Guess, Daenerys Schmidl, Emberlyn Holtzclaw, Reagan Allen, Rylan Labuvitz, Trig Sedman, Bentley Watkins, Cooper Baumgartner.
Boy, these top two sheep right here really push each other, and if on the outside maybe you like them flipped, I could buy that, but man, to get a white face like this that's built that cool in terms of chest floor, he's really good and elevated in terms of top line, hip and hind leg set once we get him propped up on the side, and his underline works really good and just wedges and helps balance out. Really good in terms of just handle quality, understanding that there's a slight breed variation, and yeah, maybe he's not just as upstanding in terms of raw shape, and the front side of his rib cage just isn't as firm and hydrated as our sheep in second, but boy, that's a killer look right there. Really where you want to get critical of him is in motion. I had him walk right there, a sheep that wants to kind of drop in his pin set when you get him in motion, and again, as you compare him to our second place right there, there's maybe just not as much outstanding shape and just raw power and hydration there. But man, that's a sick looking sheep. I thought he was really going to make a push here when he came in class. Really like a lot of aspects of how we get him propped up on the side. If this is the sheep that you want to say, man, that thing's an absolute burly monster from a muscle perspective, 100% I'll buy that, because that's probably the biggest backed one, the stoutest pin. Absolutely like him from just a presentation standpoint. He's got big fuzzy legs on him. He looks the part. He's built tall at the point of his shoulder. Compared to our class winner, though, I could probably get a bit more critical of that weather because his shoulder's just a bit more general to look at. He's almost just a shot too compact for me. I'd almost like to lengthen him out just a freckle. He's got kind of just a bigger belly on him, which maybe just detracts away from just his look when he's maybe just a little bit more squashed up in terms of his neck set. There's just a couple nitpicky areas right there that I'd maybe like to lengthen that sheep out, but very, very good. I thought he was going to win initially because of his outstanding dimension and power. Very good speckle right here, and there's a lot to appreciate in this guy right here. Very growthy, very extended. I really like him from a lateness of maturity and just the way he patterns up. Once we can actually work his top line, I encourage you here, young lady, work his top line just a freckle more, because that's a really nice speckle right there. I commend the breeders for what you guys have done with that guy right there. Very fresh. Compared to our first and second, I just wasn't convinced that there was just as unique of a feature of muscle compared to second, and maybe just got out quality compared to first. Very nice combination sheep. There's a lot of good in that one right there. Our fourth place, who I thought was interesting, because initially I said that's kind of my kind from a standpoint of growthiness, extension, tallness of shoulder right there. When we get him up on the profile, I'm not sure that he's always going to fit, though, because even though we left some flank wool in there to kind of make him blend, I actually don't know that his underline is just wedged in the most positive direction there. Get up over his loin, a sheep that kind of wants to dry out. I just wasn't completely sure he fit some of the aspects of the sheep there ahead of him, but very, very nice, solid, complete weather that I like a ton from a standpoint of freshness and power. The sheep that comes out next, there's a lot of muscle, there's a lot of dimension right there. A ewe that's just a bit more conventional in terms of look and quality compared to the sheep ahead of her. I think that's a very nice, solid project, though. And then rounding out our top six here is a weather that I can appreciate from a standpoint of muscle and dimension. Just got a bit too more upright in terms of shoulder. Just didn't read that one with having as much upstanding shape as the sheep five ahead of him. Very nice job, though. Really good set of sheep right here. You guys should be very proud of them. Let's give them a round of applause. That was another good class to go through.
Results of Heat 4. First place, Cooper Baumgartner. Second place, Kason Bowman. Third place, Michaela Pinder. Fourth place, Denny Wolfley. Fifth place, Addison Aldersea. Sixth place, Andrea Rose. Seventh place, Bethany Gassner. Eighth place, Guthrie Watkins. Ninth place, Guthrie Watkins. 10th place, McKinley Sunderland. 11th place, Ryan Fairherm. Please make sure, again, if you are top 3, that you are ready to come back for the overall drive. Coming in is Heat 5, and headed to the holding pin is Heat 6. Hattie Morrison, Liam Ojeda, Rowdy Baker, Tegan Derner, Whitley Smalley, Kason Bowman, Reese West, Bryn Bolgren with 2 entries, and Michael Echeper. We would like to thank Juan Givet for coming and judging the Bread and Fed show today. Juan is originally from Northwest Washington, where he was raised on a Christmas and apple tree farm. His family raised Angus and Limousin cattle and became heavily involved in the Junior Limousin Association. Having shown cattle, sheep, and goats growing up, he developed a love for the livestock industry. He attended Lynn Benton Community College in Oregon, where he obtained his associate's degree while a member of the livestock judging team. He was recruited to the University of Wyoming, where he was a member of a very competitive livestock and wool judging team while obtaining his Bachelor's of Science in Animal and Veterinary Science with a double major in agriculture communication. He obtained his Master in Science and Animal Science with a focus on animal health from North Dakota State University. He has served as the head livestock judging coach and ag instructor at Fort Scott Community College and Laramie County Community College. He currently is a consultant with a nationally recognized education company down in Texas, helping launch new FFA and CTE courses, while also the owner of a real estate investment firm that operates in Central California.
top pair of sheep right here are really interesting. Ultimately, I'll go ahead and use the young lady's weather here to win the class because to me, that's probably just the best outline sheep combined with the right type of muscularity and handle quality. Compare him to the sheep in second. That's just a shot better sheep in terms of shoulder and elevation. I really like the way he props up on the side. He ties his neck in just more perpendicular there on the top side of his blade. Built really good in terms of the elevation of his chest floor back into his flank line. Now, when you get both of these weathers in motion, I got to actually reassemble both of them just a nickel in terms of build and the way they get out. Probably like to reassemble him just a shot in terms of his rear foot. Very nice sheep, though. He handles correctly. He's trim. He's high cut ability while still combining probably the best aspect of look and quality and freshness right there. There's a lot to appreciate in the weather in second because that's another muscular weather that I like a ton from a standpoint of having a big hind leg on him. He's fuzzy-legged. Really like him from a standpoint of top shape and just turn and lower hip size. A weather, though, that when we get him up on the side, and especially compared to first, I could actually get more critical of him because his shoulders maybe got on just a freckle longer. He doesn't tie in just as neat there at the top of his shoulder there. Gets maybe just a bit more general. And then when we get him in motion, even though he can maybe reassemble his rear foot just a freckle better than the sheep that wins, that to me is a weather that's starting to get a little awkward in terms of his top line, wants to break right behind his shoulder. I'm not going to get here and go on a structure kick with these weathers, but I'd maybe like to reassemble his skeleton. To me, he's maybe a sheep that's just starting to get just a shot more common up front. Very nice project, though. I initially wanted to write this ewe off because when she came in class, I said, there's one that's probably getting just a bit more mature and just kind of ewe-like and maybe looks a little brood ewe instead of a market sheep. But the longer we kept her out here, I said, hey, there's one that's good in terms of just handle quality compared to the sheep right behind her. Then the reason she's in third here is because that's the fresher, more hydrated ewe. That's better in terms of the touch, better in terms of her pelt, and just tighter and more hydrated in that regard. But again, the reason she's here is because she's just a bit more general to look at. Again, starting to look kind of just like a brood ewe, but there's still enough freshness and meat animal shape there to work her up into our top six there. The sheep that comes out next, I'll admit that ewe initially I thought was just going to be better in terms of just hydration and look. I like that one's youthfulness and extension, lateness of maturity. I was actually surprised because that ewe was probably one of the fatter ones of our top six right here. You really get up on this viewpoint right here. There's, to me, a ewe that's starting to get a bit more general. The front side of her rib cage just doesn't handle as fresh. And then over her top there, just starting to get really, really brood ewe and mature in terms of her rib and body. Got to freshen and rehydrate her. Really commend the gentleman here in front of me with sticking with his weather. Really appreciate your attitude and just coming out here and getting him stuck right there. That's a very muscular, stout constructed, opened up sheep that's bold in terms of the front side of his rib cage and big loin. His biggest problem is he's just a bit more general to look at compared to the sheep ahead of him. Got to reassemble his front end right there. The blue sheep that comes in sixth there, I initially wanted to work him up higher because relative to some sheep ahead of him, he probably is one of the better built ones in terms of elevation, in terms of chest floor and chest plate right there. The biggest problem is of the top six there, he is the flattest, lightest muscled one, but I worked him up there because he's very fresh and hydrated, handles trim, and is still relatively neat to look at on the profile. Very nice job to those top six. I still commend you guys down here. I like there's a lot to like in your sheep right there.
Results of Heat 5. First place, Whitley Smalley. Second place, Cooper Baumgartner. Third place, Reagan Allen. Fourth place, Addison Aldersea. Fifth place, Rowdy Baker. Sixth place, Ali Guess. Seventh place, Ryan Lebovitz. Eighth place, Emberlyn Holtzclaw. Ninth place, Bemley Watkins. 10th place, Daenerys Schmidl. 10th place, 11th place, Michael Etcheper.
Get some hand sanitizer.
We'd like to thank our sponsor, Laramie County Farm Bureau, for sponsoring the Born and Raised shows for all of Laramie County. We'd like to also encourage everyone to attend the FFA Sale of Champions at 7 p.m. on Friday, the 7th, at the Cheyenne Frontier Days headquarters, and Laramie County 4-H Livestock Sale at 9 a.m. on Saturday, the 8th, here at the Event Center at Archer. Hey, all right, headed into the ring is Heat 6. Some what? Heat 7, please make your way to the holding area. Heat 7. Cooper Baumgartner, Kenzie Johnson, Syra Shank, Kason Bowman, Emily Shuck, Addison Aldersey, Leah Russell, Leah Mojetta, Abby Wiley. As another reminder, please make sure that if you are top 3 in your class, you're coming back for the overall drive. We will be listing or placing the top 10 lambs at the very end.
Young man, that's a sick-looking sheep right there. That's my kind every day of the week when their chest plate is that neat. They're good in terms of their underline. Their top lines kind of just work that in that right direction. Hip and hind leg set just are really good and aesthetic set down in the right way. And where, to me, that sheep really wins is just roundness of body shape, upstanding rack there. Really like the way that this one handles. Compared to the sheep in second, that one's front end, neck set, and just the way he ties in there at the top of his blade is ultimately what seals the deal there. Congratulations. Man, I know it's frustrating here, buddy, when you want to come in and you maybe have the stoutest, heaviest muscled wether in here. And trust me, I thought for a second he was going to get a piece of it because he's extra burly, extra stout featured, and just really fuzzy legged, and he looks the part that you need in terms of stoutness of dimension. And on that same token, he's still built good in terms of front end elevation. He's tucked up there in his chest floor, handles really good right there. Really where he lands in second for me is I'm just not overly convinced that he's as unique in terms of front end presentation, shoulder blade, and the way his scapula lays in there compared to the sheep that's in first. There's probably a couple times where I want to get just extra critical of the shape and the length of his neck right there. Even though he ties in nice and perpendicular, there's just a few features right there that I just wasn't convinced he was as unique as our first place. Really, really good sheep there, though. I'm excited to see how that pair handles in the champion drive. There's a really good looking blue wether right here in front of me that has the look, the elevation, some extra bells and whistles in terms of height of shoulder, in terms of his chest plate, how he works into his underline. I commend the breeders, man, bring me sheep that look like that in terms of just look, skeleton, and blueprint. Unfortunately, right here, this view right here is what gets him third, too narrow pin, too flat to really push first and second there, but really, really cool, paints an awesome profile picture. The sheep here that's in fourth, I actually initially thought he was going to work down further in the lineup because he's upright and straight and awkward in terms of his front end, and that's kind of why his top line comes up like that. A sheep that I got to just reassemble, and the showman's doing a great job working it down. I'm sure it gets exhausting right there, but there's plenty of muscle, there's plenty of turn of shape right there. That sheep handles good, fresh and hydrated. Just really a downgrade compared to the three sheep ahead of him in terms of just skeleton and build. The sheep that comes out next, maybe showing that we got to reassemble some things on how we get that wether shown. But if you can look past that, you got to tell yourself there's a good wether right there. He's got muscle, he's got some composition on him, he handles good. There's plenty of topside shape. He's big and opened up in his pin and lower leg. We got to rework the neck, man. We're getting way too far stretched. A couple times I thought we were going to work our way down because we just didn't get him stuck 100%. But if you really look past that, you got a really nice project right there. You fed him well. We really have a good one there from a muscle and composition standpoint. Didn't match the quality, the height of shoulder of the sheep ahead of him. Very nice job right there. The blue sheep that rounds up our top six right here, that's one that I actually like better, though, in terms of height of shoulder, in terms of elevation, the way he's jacked up in terms of his chest floor in relation to his flank. Of our top six, though, he might be the most general from a handle perspective. Starting to get kind of plain there in terms of the top side of his rack. I'm not convinced his loin edges just handle extra special right there. The reason he's up here, though, is because he's one of the more unique ones to look at in terms of build and elevation. Really nice job to the breeders there. Those top six were pretty fun. Still commend you guys down here. Don't be discouraged. Don't be disappointed. These sheep could still go out in a lot of different county fairs and compete. Really nice job to these exhibitors.
Results of Heat 6. First place, Reese West. Second place, Kason Bowman. Third place, Whitley Smalley. Fourth place, Bryn Bolgren. Fifth place, Michael Etcheper. Sixth place, Bryn Bolgren. Seventh place, Rowdy Baker. Eighth place, Liam Ojeda. Ninth place, Bryn Bolgren. 10th place, Hattie Morrison. Coming into the ring is Heat 7, and then Heat 8 should be headed to the holding pin. Drayden Morrison, Tegan Durner, Addison Aldersey, Dawson Sedman, Tegan Durner, Sage Durner, Denny Wolfley, Ruby Wolfley. Following the final heat, please have the top 3 from each class in the waiting area.
This young man in front of me has brought a lot of good sheep. That's my favorite one. He's brought in easily the best in terms of just elevation, the shoulder. Really like him in terms of just his chest plate, the way he works into his underline. I think he wins this class by a mile. Nice job. The sheep that's in second, I don't want to take away from him because that's another wether that's built really good in terms of front end presentation. The biggest thing that really lands him in second, I just wasn't convinced he was just as out there in terms of raw shape, top shape right there, maybe just a shot more general. His loin's just a little off. His dock set just isn't as square and unique and just offers a nice balanced look compared to our first place. That's a really nice wether in his own right. I thought just he's second by a mile in terms of quality and look. The sheep that's in third right here, I'll go ahead and save him in third because at least he's built up in terms of his chest floor. He's good in the direction of his flank line. There's plenty of muscle volume and just at least some growth and scale size to that wether. I guess where he really lands him third right here is his shoulder's just a bit more conventional. If you really study him down his top side and just his shape there, a wether that's getting just a shot more conventional, I'm not really sure I read him as hydrated and just as fresh and tight pelted as the two sheep ahead of him, but that's there from a muscle perspective. The sheep that comes out next, I might actually like him just a shot more from a freshness perspective, but on that same token, he's kind of interesting in the way that he handles because I initially thought he was going to be firmer, more hydrated than the sheep ahead of him, but when you actually get your hands on that wether, he's starting to kind of get plain in terms of his top, even though there's a bit more volume there compared to some other sheep there. I just didn't read that one to have as much upstanding shape right there, but he looks the part right here to land in fourth. Really nice job to the young lady getting her wether out here. You were showing your absolute heart out. I appreciate that. I like your attitude. I kind of found myself cheering for you right there. Unfortunately, even though you're great at those aspects, that's not enough to work your wether up because he's just a bit too full and kind of just general shouldered for me to really get behind. I'd almost like to reassemble him in some aspects of his skeleton to really prop up with just an elevated look on the profile. Really nice job getting your project out here. The sheep that comes out next of our top six right there, I actually like that one just a bit more in terms of just some youthfulness. Thought he was going to beat the sheep ahead of him. Unfortunately, though, just from a quality perspective, a wether that I just could never get an absolute great read on. His top line's a little funky. Get him in motion, he just kind of gets awkward in terms of his rear foot and where he's going to plant it. At times, I'd almost like to reassemble him in his shoulder and his flank line. I read that sheep to be very good from a cutout value, a carcass perspective. He's almost a little too piecey and choppy in some areas. Got to reassemble him from that perspective, but there's plenty of carcass merit right there. He works his way into the top six. Really nice job to you three. You guys did a great job getting your projects out here.
Results of Heat 7. First place, Kason Bowman. Second place, Cooper Baumgartner. Third place, Addison Aldersea. Fourth place, Cyrus Shank. Fifth place, Kenzie Johnson. Sixth place, Leah Russell. Seventh place, Emily Shuck. Eighth place, Liam Ojeda. Ninth place, Abby Wiley. Coming into the ring is Heat 8. Okay, coming back for Heat 1. Rowdy Baker with his Jeffrey Club Lamb. Blair Sanchez with her Spy Club Lambs. 2 entries. Heat 2, Grace Baumgartner with her Little Bow Sheep. Dawson Sedman, B3 Livestock. Blair Sanchez, Spy Club Lambs and Goats. Heat 3, Kason Bowman, Jeffrey Club Lambs. Ruby Wolfley, Winslow Club Lambs, and Selena Millhouse, Watkins Club Lambs. Heat 4, Cooper Baumgartner with Little Bow Sheep, Kason Bowman, Jeffrey Club Lambs, Michaela Pinder, Cox Show Lambs. Heat 5, Whitley Smalley, Lambert and Baumberger, Cooper Baumgartner, Little Bow Sheep, Reagan Allen, Watkins Club Lambs. Heat 6, Reese West, Little Bow Sheep, Kason Bowman, Jeffrey Clublams, and Whitley Smalley, Lambert Baumberger. Heat 7, Kason Bowman, Jeffrey Clublams, Cooper Baumgartner, Jeffrey Clublams, Addison Aldersea, Aldersea Showlams.
Class winner here wins pretty routinely for me because of the sheep here in the top 6. That one is the best in terms of just his outline. Really like the way that this sheep is constructed at the height of his shoulder. Really good there in terms of how he ties into his neck. Square, perpendicular. Good in terms of his chest plate. And really for his weight category, it's one of the heavier sheep we've seen out here. He's still kept his chest in him and his maturity pattern. Handles one of the freshest and most hydrated. And honestly, these top 2 sheep handle exceptionally well for their weight range. A weather to me that I can really just appreciate for how he patterns up there. Very nice job getting him stuck. Second and third I thought was just an awfully hard decision, and ultimately for me it's maybe just carcass merit and handle quality that allows this blue sheep to be second. I honestly thought he was going to end up third or fourth when he initially came in because he just kind of hit me as one that was maybe just easy to overlook because he doesn't just tie in as square and unique there at the top of his shoulder. His flank's just a bit drier, but when you really start to break him apart and compare him carcass-wise, handle quality-wise compared to the sheep right behind him, that weather's easily second in terms of being raw up there on the top side of his rack. He handles better over his loin edges. He's got enough pin width there. Yeah, I'd like to drop him down there into his lower leg, give him a shot more twist there and just overall mass from this viewpoint right here. But reason he ends up second instead of being third is because of the sheep right in front of me here. That one is the better carcass sheep. From the outside though, if you like this weather here in third, or just a shot better, I can understand that because I actually did initially. That one's probably more my kind in terms of chest floor, in terms of elevation. I really like the way that that sheep is constructed there at the top side of his blade, runs uphill. Really where he lands in third for me is just from a carcass standpoint. Of the top 3 sheep, get up on this viewpoint right there, maybe the most devoid on the front side of his rack right there. Easily the plainest there of the top 3 over his top. His loin's getting kind of washed out and plain. I'd really like this sheep maybe if he was rawed up and just fresher and more hydrated there on the top side of his rack and along his loin. There's a lot to appreciate him, though, from a look perspective. The ewe that comes out next, that one's one that I can really appreciate there from a standpoint of volume of muscle. She's big top, she's stout pin. There's a lot of lower leg and a big fuzzy hind foot on her. The biggest issue with her is she just gets out-qualitied by the sheep ahead of her because she's maybe just a shot more compact to look at. Just looks to be a bit more conventional in terms of her grow and her outline. Wasn't convinced that she handled as rock stars some of the sheep ahead of her for her weight category. There's a good solid sheep right here in front of me, one that I can certainly appreciate for being growthy and late maturing in terms of look. A weather that's getting a bit too general for me in terms of the shape and the length of his neck. His shoulders kind of pushed out in him. I just don't read him to be as unique there right behind his rack. He's just a sheep to me that's starting to get a little bit piecey. I'd like to reassemble him in just a few different areas to make him a shot more unique to look at. And then the sheep that rounds out our top 6. That one's maybe just a shot better in terms of his shoulder and the way that he ties into his neck. About a bit of a downgrade from a freshness perspective. He's just getting plain in almost every direction of his muscle. The front side of his rib just looks a bit plainer. Doesn't handle just as unique, and with some outer turn there on the top side of his rack. His loin edges could be just a shot fresher. And from this viewpoint right here is where he lands in 6 for me. Got to have just more outer turn to his lower leg and just a shot more outer leg to just truly complement some of the weathers ahead of him. Very nice job to the remaining sheep there. You guys have all done a great job getting them presented out here.
Results of Heat 8. First place, Denny Wolfley with her Winslow Club Lamb, Tegan Durner, Little Bow Sheep, and Dawson Sedman with B3 Livestock. Fourth place is Addison Aldersea. Fifth place, Ruby Wolfley. Sixth place, Drayden Morrison. Seventh place, Sage Durner. And eighth place, Tegan Durner. While we get them lined up, the breeders that will be exhibited in the final drive: Little Bow Sheep, Jeffrey Club Lambs, Lambert Bomberger, B3 Livestock, Winslow Club Lambs, Aldersea Club Lambs, Cox Club Lambs, and Spy Club Lambs and Goats. We'd like to thank the Laramie County Farm Bureau for being the sponsor of our buckle today. We'd also like to thank the Wyoming Tallow Company for being the banner sponsor, and thank you to the Show Kids 4-H Club for sponsoring the wood plaques.
Man, you guys as Laramie County breeders should be absolutely excited and proud of the quality of the sheep that you have right here. It's been an absolute privilege to get to sort through them. Yeah, give the breeders a round of applause. This is quite a sheep show right here. You know, I've had the privilege of judging shows in different parts of the country, all the way from the West Coast to the East Coast, and I can say with confidence, and I always tell people this when I'm back home in Washington, I always tell them I think Laramie County is one of the toughest sheep shows to get through, and that certainly holds true right here, because this is the quality that you guys have just here in Laramie County. That's pretty exciting. And for me to get to judge that is pretty fun. I had the privilege several years ago of judging the GOAT show. That's back when I was still a judging coach out in Kansas, and before I knew I was going to become a local here in town. So I thought that was an absolute blast. But in the back of my mind, I always had it as, you know, I'm always jealous of whoever gets to judge the sheep show. If this is the closest I ever get, I'm still pretty excited because it's really, really fun. It's really high quality. I appreciate you guys asking me literally last minute. This is, I guess, one of those cases where you can literally say you grab someone off the side of the street and ask them to judge the show. I still took that very seriously. I still took it with quite a bit of pressure and said, you know what, we're going to go out there and just select the right sheep there, and I hope I've done that. Whether or not I liked your project out here, I think we can say with confidence that all of these sheep out here, first through third in their respective classes, have a ton of quality to make it out of their respective classes. They had to have had, obviously, the right combination of muscle and some condition relative to where they are in their weight range. And then also from there, you got to build them out in terms of quality and extension. That's probably a theme that you can see right here, is all of these sheep here suit me extremely well from a standpoint of elevation, of chest floor. I really like sheep that are kind of freaky in terms of look, so maybe I'll give up some extras here. Maybe you like them a little stouter and burlier than me. It depends on where your preferences really are. But there's, to me, two sheep out here that are absolutely exceptional for muscle, for stoutness, having big fuzzy legs, and just a really trendy look. And I don't think it's any secret which two those are. And I think from third all the way to 10th, because you guys are asking me to place them all the way through 10th, might get a little dicier. I can understand if from the outside you like them just a little bit differently, but boy, do I think there's a ton of quality. I think you guys have built out some really, really unique creatures that could certainly go play at any state fair, at any type of jackpot out there, in any type of national show. You guys are competitive, you're sharp, you're dialed in. And as I said a moment ago, I originally came here to just watch and take it in and enjoy what you guys have been doing here and commend the breeders. I'll still do that right here and commend you guys for what you've done out here. Really nice job to the exhibitors, to the show teams, and especially to the breeders. You guys should be darn proud of what you've got out here. So thanks again for asking me to jump in last minute. I probably would have worn a different shirt or something if I knew I was going to step in here, but you guys certainly put on a really fun show. It was certainly a blast to come out here. Excited to see how these sheep stack up next week over in Douglas. You guys certainly could make a push there because these sheep are really, really good and high quality. Let's commend the kids, commend the breeders. That was a heck of a sheep show. I'll select them 1 through 10.
Your champion bred and fed, exhibited by Kason Bowman, bred by Jeffrey Club Lambs. Reserve champion bred and fed, exhibited by Reese West, bred by Little Bo Sheep. Your third place overall lamb, exhibited by Cooper Baumgartner, bred by Little Bo Sheep. 4th overall, exhibited by Kason Bowman, bred by Jeffrey Club Lambs. Fifth overall, exhibited by Whitley Smalley, bred by Lambert Baumberger. Sixth overall, exhibited by Grace Baumgartner, bred by Little Bow Sheep. Seventh overall, exhibited by Kason Bowman, bred by Jeffrey Club Lambs. Eighth overall, exhibited by Whitley Smalley, bred by Lambert Baumberger. B3 livestock, my bad. Ninth overall, exhibited by Denny Wolfley, bred by Winslow Club Lambs. In 10th place overall, Case and Bowman, bred by Jeffrey Club Lambs. Great job, guys, and thank you, Juan, very much.